Yesterday's conspiracy theories, tomorrow's headlines. Most are still asleep and I ain't talking about no bedtime. The truth is not a Google search, you need to get your head right. The Greek goddess of illusion was called Media and I'm not a coincidence theorist, I look for thread lines. Smashing every deadline, no longer smashing red wine. Though I can hear the bells chime, it feels like the end times. That probably should have been smashed on red wine, but the carnal mind is foolish. Obey and end up ghoulish. Don't get used by instinct, take control and learn to use it. Make a load of earnest music, earn a few quid, learn a few tricks. Sure, the truth is persecuted, this whole world is pure abusive. Know a bit about everything and everything about nothing. Figured out my noggin while you picture out shopping. You sit about watching while I dish it out. Stop it, I don't mean to sound cocky, I'm not even proud of it. It's a second itch to me, just to me to sound honest. I don't even need to sound honest, never been about profit. Everything but out on it, you can bet your house on it. Doubt I'll be out for the count when the sounds, and I'm down for the beat, no beat down. I mean, how long's it been? Help me out. I've been the only one who's held me down. All in the mind, hell freeze now. Still sick with it, healthy how? Few bars down and the world freaked out. I don't reach out, I seek out to speak out. I'ma recount the reasons they beat out.
Yo, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are on this beautiful earth. Today, we have a new segment for you. I'm covering the Nord oil pipeline explosion. I'm sure you've heard of it, and if not, it's probably because the hurricanes rocket the world, and yeah, rightfully so here in America. But you know what? This should be covered, and we should be aware of what this is all about and the effects. Well, the possible effects if we don't take the right actions. Now, I'm going to go ahead and kick it off. So here we go. From 15 months ago, U.S. and Germany reached deal on controversial pipeline that Biden sees as a Russian geopolitical project. The U.S. announced Wednesday that it reached a deal with Germany that would allow completion of the controversial Nord Stream 2 pipeline opposed by the Biden administration as a malign influence project that Russia could use to gain leverage over European allies. While we remain opposed to the pipeline, we reached the judgment that sanctions would not stop its construction and risk undermining a critical alliance with Germany, as well as with the EU and other European allies, the senior State Department officials said Wednesday. So, 15 months ago, they're strongly opposing it, but they're going to go ahead and allow it. The announcement is unlikely to end bitter divides over the pipeline, with U.S. lawmakers condemning the agreement, Ukrainian officials immediately weighing in to say that they are lodging diplomatic protests, and even the U.S. acknowledging their opposition to the project remains firm. I would just say empathetically that we will still oppose Nord Stream 2. We will still believe it's a Russian geopolitical malign influence project. None of that has changed, the senior official said. President Joe Biden said late Wednesday that at this stage of the project, there is no way to halt its completion. Nord Stream is 99% finished. The idea that anything was going to be said or done was going to stop it was not possible. Biden said in Kentucky after CNN's town hall before returning to Washington. But I had, as you know, very, very fruitful discussions with Angela Merkel, and she's working and the German government on a commitment that suggests that if in fact Russia takes pain to deliberately inflict pain on Ukraine or any other countries, they will respond. In an attempt to prevent Russia from using the pipeline to increase European dependence on its energy supplies, Germany has agreed to take a series of measures meant to mitigate the risk to European energy security to Ukraine and the European Union or NATO countries closer to the Russian borders. In the past, Russia has cut off energy supplies to other countries, including Ukraine. Germany has really committed to taking swift action, the senior official said in the call with reporters. There are a number of tools that Germany and the UE have at their disposal to push against Russian aggression or malign activities. Next article. So you can see that the U.S. had plans with Angela Merkel to go ahead and remove this Nord Stream 2 if Russia went and invaded Ukraine. That was 15 months ago. All right, so about 14 months ago, Russia hit with new U.S. sanctions over Nord Stream 2 pipeline. Germany unscathed. Russia was hit with new sanctions imposed by the U.S. government over the construction of the Nord Stream 2 gas pipeline from Russia to Europe, but Germany remained exempt. The sanctions were directed at two Russian ships, the Ostov Sharamateh, which is involved with laying pipe for the project, and the JSC Nobility, and at a Russian construction firm, Constanta OOO. Sanctions have not targeted the Germany company in charge of the project, Nord Stream AG, or its executives. The Biden administration waived the sanctions against the company earlier this year, saying it was an attempt to rebuild relations with members of Congress have voiced concerns over the pipeline giving Russia too much power in Europe, but the Biden administration defended its position by saying that it opposes the project, but it is a fait accomplice. So you can see that even though they allowed this pipeline, they really didn't allow Russia. They were still giving them a lot of trouble for um building this pipeline. Even though they allowed it, they're like, hey, yeah, sure, you could do it, but no, wait, kind of, we're gonna bully you the whole way through. Now, next article. This is from January 26th this year. Germany in the West's efforts to deter Russia and Ukraine. The US and its European allies are readying troops and sending armaments to Ukraine or NATO's eastern flank to deter or respond to Russia's possible invasion of Ukraine. At least most of them are. In recent days, Germany, Europe's largest and richest democracy, strategically situated at the crossroads between the East and West, has stood out more for what it will not do than what it is doing, the New York Times reports. Germany has a long, complicated relationship with Russia, and the party of new German Chancellor Olaf Scholz, the Social Democrats, have traditionally favored working with the Russians rather than confronting them. Germany's evident hesitation to take forceful measures has fueled doubts about its reliability as an ally, the New York Times reports, and added to concerns that Moscow could use German wavering as a wedge to divide a united European response to any Russian aggression. The Biden administration has gone out of its way to show confidence in Berlin, but even that is being viewed by some as a sign of concern. It is telling that the U.S. has to publicly reaffirm its trust in Germany. Jana Puglerin of the Berlin-based European Council on the Foreign Relations told the Times. That used to be a given. Prominent leaders in Germany have warned against bargaining with the Nord Stream 2 pipeline that will bring natural gas to Germany from Russia, and others argue that proposals to freeze Russian banks from the SWIFT payment transaction network would harm Germany's economy. Germany's muddled stance has been especially unsettling to Ukraine and some of Germany's eastern neighbors, the Times says, and they have not been shy about criticizing Germany's waffling. The doubts about Germany's willingness to confront Moscow is one potential united Western response to a Russian invasion, but it's not the only one. The EU, US, and other Western allies are adamant that Russia will face heavy sanctions as if it attacks Ukraine. But there is a widespread uncertainty over what would constitute an attack short of a full-scale invasion. Russian President Vladimir Putin says that Europe's main power base is France, Germany, and Britain. British lawmaker Tobias Elwood told the Washington Post, if these countries are united, the rest of Europe follows. If you can sow divisions among these three, then there's no leadership, there's no coordination, there's no unity. Next article. Biden vows to end German Russian gas pipeline if Ukraine is invaded on February 7th. President Biden, along Germany's new chancellor, pledged on Monday that their two nations are united in an effort to deter Russia from invading Ukraine following their first formal meetings at the White House. So, just within 6 months, they go ahead and allow Russia to go and help Germany build this pipeline. And then Germany turns their back on them and works with Biden to go ahead and say, well, we do see Russia as a threat. I guess because America is bullying them. Now, wow. All right. Okay, let's continue on. Strikingly, Biden promised he and other allies will bring an end to the controversial Nord Stream 2 natural gas pipeline connecting Russia and Germany if Russia attacks its neighbors, a former Soviet republic. If Russia invades, there will no longer be a Nord Stream 2, Biden said during a news conference after 2 hours of talks with German Chancellor Olaf Scholz. But even as Scholz and Biden sought to convey a united front, the German leader would not explicitly back Biden's threat. He promised only there would be no daylight between Germany, which controls the pipeline, and its NATO partners. We will be united. We will act together, said Schultz, whose commitment to deterring Russian aggression has been in recent weeks questioned by allies in light of its reluctance to send serious military aid to Ukraine in past comments suggesting that Nord Stream 2, as a private sector project, might not be sanctionable. All the necessary steps will be taken by us together, he said. When a German reporter asked Scholz why he wouldn't try to put rest nagging ability as a NATO ally by explicitly backing Biden's threat to halt Nord Stream 2, Biden stepped in to dispel any sense that the two leaders weren't aligned. Germany's completely reliable. I have no doubt about Germany. So, within a couple months, 4 or 5 months, it went from we don't think Germany's reliable to Germany's completely reliable. Now, something must have happened. Hmm. Who knows? The public show of unity continued Biden's ongoing effort to bolster the NATO coalition in response to the aggression by Russian President Vladimir Putin, who has amassed more than 100,000 troops on Ukraine's borders in preparation for possible invasion. Biden and the Schultz were clear in expressing their broad agreement on a two-track approach of diplomacy and deterrence. Although both agreed of a diplomatic resolution in their preferred outcome, Biden warned of swift and severe consequences if Russia attacks. We're in agreement that it cannot be business as usual if Russia invades. His repetition of several statements affirming their agreement offered perhaps the clearest signal of the lingering unease among allies and the importance of conveying to Putin above all others that NATO's two strongest powers remain committed. The bottom line is Germany and the US are close friends and reliable partners, and we can count on one another, Biden said. He stated that the two leaders are aligned on the importance of deterring Russian aggression and upholding the long-standing democratic principles of the rules-based international order. Scholz, a former finance minister under Angela Merkel, brought little international security experience to the chancellorship when he succeeded her in December. On her visit to Washington as chancellor, he also worked to allay concerns that Germany, a pillar of transatlantic alliance in recent years, was suddenly a weak link. Germany's leadership was criticized last month by allies and Germans for sending only a shipment of 5,000 helmets as its main contribution to Ukraine's defense. Germany's ambassador to the United States sent a frantic memo back to Berlin advising Sherlin that Washington was questioning its allies' reliability and that many Republicans believe the new chancellor is in bed with Putin. So they go ahead and then show that they're super reliable to America because of the bullying. Now, next article. Poland, Denmark, and Norway opened new gas pipeline under the Baltic Sea just 4 days ago or 3 days ago, September 27th. Wow. Wait, isn't that where this Nord Stream 2 pipeline is? Oh, my dog's barking. Hold on. All right. So in Warsaw on September 27th, government representatives from Poland, Denmark, and Norway have opened a new Baltic pipe, a pipeline which will take natural gas from Norway via Denmark to Poland. The of gas is coming to an end, an era marked by blackmail, threats, and coercion. Polish Prime Minister Mateusz Morawiecki said on Tuesday at the symbolic inauguration of the Baltic Pipe compressor station in Golinau near the Polish port city of Szczecin. The most important supplier of natural gas to many European countries has until now been Russia. Has, however, been cut to zero in the wake of the Russia's invasion to Ukraine, and multiple leaks have been discovered in Nord Stream 1 and its sister pipeline, Nord Stream 2. A new era of energy sovereignty and freedom is beginning, Morawiecki said. Solidarity can make the continent more secure, he added. This day marks a crucial geopolitical step for us all, said Danish Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen. Norway's oil and energy minister Sergei Aslan said that Russia's President Vladimir Putin wants to divide the West, but he is not seceding. The Baltic Pipe is 900-kilometer long branch of existing Europipe 2 pipeline, which runs from Norway through the North Sea to the Germany state of Lower Saxony. In future, Norwegian natural gas can also be transported to the east through the Baltic Pipe. The pipeline connects to the existing pipeline west of Denmark in the North Sea. It then leads to Danish mainland through the Baltic Sea to Poland. The construction cost for the project is about 1.5 billion. The Polish network operator Gas System and the Danish state-owned company Energinet contributed to the largest share. Energinet is responsible for the overall operation of electricity and gas system in Denmark. Gas is scheduled to flow through the pipeline on October 1st, and they expect about 6.5 billion cubic meters of gas to flow through it next year into Poland. In the following year, it should be about 7.5 billion. So, interesting time for this pipeline in Norway and to go ahead and open. Am I right? Am I right? Yeah, you go ahead and decide. Next up, now, this is interesting. A article from Europe. U.S. military aircraft circled Nord Stream incident site in September. The U.S. military reportedly carried out sorties over the future site of the Nord Stream incident in the Baltic Sea. U.S. helicopters habitually and on numerous occasions circled for hours over the site of the Nord Stream pipeline incident near Bornholm Island earlier in September, Flight Radar 24 data showed. Earlier this month, a U.S. Navy Sikorsky MH-60R Seahawk helicopter spent hours lording over the location of the damaged natural gas pipelines in the Baltic Sea near Bornholm for several days in a row, September 1st, 2nd, and 3rd in particular. Denmark's Maritime Traffic Agency and Sweden's Maritime Authority on Monday report a dangerous gas leak in the Baltic Sea close to the route reported a dangerous gas leak in the Baltic Sea. Oh, yeah. Close to the route of the inactive Nord Stream 2 pipeline, which experienced an unexplained drop in pressure. The leak southeast of the Danish island of Bornholm is dangerous for maritime traffic and navigation is prohibited within 5 nautical mile radius of the reported position, the agency warned in a notice to ships. Following the incident, German newspaper Tagesspiegel claimed Monday that Berlin is convinced that the loss of pressure in the 3 natural gas pipelines between Russia and Germany was not a coincidence and suspects a targeted attack. The cause of the incident remains unknown and an investigation is underway. Swedish Foreign Minister Ann Lind said on Tuesday that the disruption was caused by detonations, which indicates that it was a sabotage. Flight Radar 24 showed an unidentified aircraft that did not even have a helicopter icon hovering above the site. However, the aircraft's 24-bit ICAO code included in the description makes it possible to establish the model, which is the U.S. military's Sikorsky MH-60R Seahawk. The code is verified through open resources that collect data on military aircraft. The U.S. helicopter is also shown by the Aircraft Tracking Service to have flown into the area of lording over the Nord Stream pipelines from Gdansk, Poland. On the second day of the loitering, almost in parallel with the U.S. counterpart, a Dutch Navy NH-9 helicopter was flying into the vicinity of the Bornholm Island, which is expected to have been observing the Americans' activity. U.S. helicopters also took flights over other Nord Stream pipelines on September 10th and 19th, and others stayed over the incident site for hours on the night of September 22nd and 25th. Reportedly, helicopters have made sorties on the night of September 22nd through 23rd and 25th through 26th, have especially confusing tracks. These revelations come after German newspaper Der Spiegel reported Tuesday that the U.S. Central Intelligence Agency warned that German government there would be attacks on Nord Stream 2 gas pipelines weeks ahead of any incident being reported around the pipelines. An informed source told that the German magazine that Berlin had been told by the CIA weeks ago that supplying a huge portion of the Europe's energy from Russia. CIA warned Berlin about Nord Stream attacks weeks ahead. The CIA had tipped off Berlin in an attack which would be impactful to the Nord Stream natural gas pipeline under the Baltic Sea weeks ahead. The media outlet cited several unnamed individuals as confirming that the CIA tipped them off. As a matter of principle, we do not take a public position on the matters related to intelligence findings or activities of the intelligence services, a German spokesperson for the German government told Der Spiegel. Denmark's Maritime Traffic Agency and Sweden's Maritime Authority on Monday reported a dangerous gas leak. Whoo-wee. So you guys hear it, man. These guys know what's up. They're all having war and we're all suffering. That's not what's up. But hey, learning about this is a little bit of enlightenment, so you're not so confused. Now, NATO believes Nord Stream gas leak in the Baltic Sea is a result of sabotage. And here, I'm going to go ahead and play it for you real quick, just so you guys can see. Yeah, that's pretty savage. Look at that, man.
Vi har svenska uppgifter men också tagit del av uppgifter i våra kontakter med Danmark. Och utifrån dem kommer fram till att detta troligen rör sig om en medveten handling. Det är alltså troligen en fråga om ett sabotage.
So, NATO believes it's sabotage. Do you believe it's sabotage? Because I believe it's sabotage. Any deliberate attack against allies' critical infrastructure would be met with a united and determined response, NATO ambassadors said in a statement today or yesterday. They said that the damage to the pipelines between Russia and Germany is of deep concern. The alliance also said that all currently available information indicates that this is the result of deliberate, reckless, and irresponsible acts of sabotage. So, NATO isn't really taking liking to what the U.S. may have done. I didn't say did do, but may have done. Danish Defense Minister Morten Bodoskov called it a joint condemnation and very strong signal from the alliance. We have leakages at 2 positions, and then they found a 4th leak just yesterday. So yeah, this was like a couple days. This is within the last 72 hours. So they found a 4th leak. Yep, and this is pretty devastating. Pretty devastating. Continuing on. The 4th leak, which was found, today, right here. NATO vows united response to the sabotage. Now, this is pretty devastating, that this is a lot of money. This is going to affect a lot of communities, a lot of societies, for everyone around the world. We don't need this type of shit. This is ridiculous. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and give you some political points of this. Denmark's military has issued an image, and then they go ahead and start this huge, online push to go ahead and really figure this out. Swedish police have launched a preliminary investigation. Seismologists in Sweden said they detected 2 explosions. Poland's prime minister called it an act of sabotage. Russia's referendums in Ukraine, which could lead to Moscow annexing 15% of the country's territory, are ending today. Russia media have announced early results claiming that the approaching quarter of the votes counted in each 4 referendums. All the regions have voted by at least 97 to be annexed by Russia. NATO has announced the referendums as a sham in violation of international law. The United Nations Human Rights Office said Russia's invasion of Ukraine has caused a dire human rights situation and led to a wide range of rights violations, including extrajudicial killings and torture that could amount to war crimes. Georgia and Kazakhstan have said tens of thousands of Russians have flooded into their countries from neighboring Russia as military-aged men avoiding military call-up. Moscow said it will not request the extradition of Russians traveling abroad. Dmitry Medvedev, the hawkish deputy chairman of Russia, has threatened the West with use of nuclear weapons in Ukraine and said, "Imagine that Russia is forced to use the most formidable weapon against the Ukrainian regime. I believe NATO will not directly intervene in the conflict, even in this. After all, the security in Washington, London, and Brussels is much more important for the North Atlantic Alliance than the fate of Ukraine, which no one needs, even if it is abundantly supplied with various weapons." So, America is funneling Ukraine, and they're really gonna fuck over Ukraine if they don't chill out and quit tampering with the EU and UK and Europe. So NATO's really at odds with America right now within the last 72 hours. Now, next article. Norway deploys troops after suspected pipeline sabotage. So, high military presence is now over all natural gas resources. Military forces will be more present and visible near oil and gas installations, Storer told reporters at a press conference on Wednesday. The information assumptions that the damage to the pipelines is a deliberate act, and it has created a very serious situation. The prime minister added, "It is crucial that Europe and NATO stand together." Tone Wagner, the senior emergency official in the country's police, confirmed that security as well as monitoring of threats has been boosted at oil and gas facilities. So, guys, we're gonna go ahead and start seeing a ramp up of police states across these natural resources. It might actually boost and might actually make things more resourceful and might cut out all the robbery. Who knows? Hey, I hope we right. Now, this is completely bad. What can we do about it? But what can we do about it, right? Now, conspiracy time. You know how I do it. Look, man, I found this article, and you guys better believe it. So, from OPED News, OPED News, OEN, as you see up there. Now, they made this article in 2010, The Miracle in the Gulf of Mexico. The BP oil disaster in the Gulf of Mexico, which began with the explosion of the Deepwater Horizon rig on April 20th, may seem to many people like old news or a crisis that's been resolved for the most part. However, the poisoning of the Gulf has persisted long after the well was capped. As the following illustration by B.K. Lim, geohazard specialist, reveals, oil and methane hydrates continue to leak from the cracked seafloor and the result of deepwater drilling adjacent to a salt dome and a geological system undermined by 87 straight days of gushing under extreme pressure, which forced the upsurging hydrocarbons to find weaknesses throughout the greater system, through which the hydrocarbons could travel all the way to the seafloor and into the GOM, notes Dr. Tom Termato, who published the findings of the Gulf Oil Spill Remediation Conference conducted over 7 months. The Gulf of Mexico is dying, a special report on the BP Gulf oil spill. On to the left, they show the picture of a illustration of the oil spill, and I mean that's pretty severe. You can go ahead and tell that it's very damaging to the ecosystem. Now, the official prognosis. The opening paragraph of the special report spells out circumstances so dire that any efforts of remediation by humans seems impossible. It is with deep regret that we publish this report. We do not take this responsibility lightly, as the consequences of the following observation are of such great importance and have such far-reaching ramifications for the entire planet. Truly, the fate of the oceans of the world hangs in the balance, as does the future of humankind. As Dr. Tomato points out, the existing situation is only going to get progressively worse, and there currently does not exist the technology or machinery or equipment to repair the damage. But You guys go ahead and wait. There is technology. John Hutchinson is a world famous for his alternative energy, anti-gravity and frequencies research, and other out of the physics box experiments. Nancy Lazarian is an intuitive from Minnesota. She works with the beneficial power of harmonics. Cara Fay, a friend of both John and Nancy, brought samples of Gulf water to John's lab in Vancouver, BC in July. Together, John and Nancy worked to identify certain ancient harmonics used in healing over the course of millennia. The frequencies were then applied to polluted water samples with both audio and radio waves, which succeeded by reducing the toxic ppm to zero. The sample success proved sufficient for them to pack up 6,000 pounds of lab equipment on a borrowed trailer and haul it with a farm truck from Canada to Gulf of Mexico, where they began their experiment work on Perdido Bay. According to Carafe, the chemical analysis from the first open air frequencies experiment in Perdido Bay has shown that the Gulf water can be restored to health. Restored without the use of dispersants, chemicals, or burning, restored by use of solfeggio tones known as the Gregorian chants and a harmonic stream of sound. One of the tones used by Hutchinson, 528 Hz, which is my birthday, May 28th, is the frequency of the planet Jupiter, and the same frequency known by the ancients as the healing frequency for repairing DNA. The inspiration of these harmonics comes from the Essenes, a group of Israelites which included Jesus as a member, and who taught the stream of sound as the harmonics of the creator or universe. Working from the shoreline, Hutchinson and Nazarian collected samples of water in quart jars on October 18th. These control samples, wrapped in several layers of aluminum foil, were taken 60 miles away from the effects of the frequencies. Samples following harmonic treatments were collected on October 22nd. All samples were tested on October 26th, showing that the amount of oil and grease before the frequency treatment was measured at 7 parts per million, while the samples that had undergone the frequency exposure measured less than 1 part per million, a significant, even miraculous reduction of toxic chemical composition. Not only that, but sea life was returning. Nancy, who has recorded the frequency treatment event, said that the day following the test, the fish were jumping. The water had been murky brown, was a clear green. 2 dolphins came to 5 feet of the water to visit. Lots of schools of fish and crabs were very active in the healing waters. Hutchinson estimates his frequency generator is clearing nearly a mile radius of polluted waters in the Gulf in 24 hours. The two proceeded to move eastward along the coastline. Hey guys, the power of harmonics and sound is amazing. I've been trying to tell you guys for such a long time that what you say, what you think, and what you have around you as far as music and the media that's in front of you is very important. You can tell from my intro. God bless you. You guys go ahead and get some better sound around you. The ongoing frequency treatment has been documented by chemist Bob Naiman, president of Analytical Chemical Testing Laboratory, Inc., ACT of Mobile, Alabama. His report concludes in part, based on testing performed from samples received, the frequency exposure resulted in the complete removal of oil and grease from the after treatment sample source tested. ACT recommends investigation of this process further to determine large-scale capabilities in cleaning water bodies and areas affected by dissolved oil dispersant in water. This applied frequency exposure process may have extreme value in the removal of petroleum contamination from a large body of water. In the opinion of this analysis, that the persons involved with this process could have a very serious positive effect on the removal of hydrocarbon contamination from the bodies of water. If this process proves to be capable of cleanup, then it should be given an opportunity to have the process showcased in any interested party, including the U.S. federal government, U.S. EPA, Homeland Security, as well as BP and any other interested state environmental agency. This process may be proven to be an excellent manner to approach the petroleum contaminated water columns that are currently present in the Gulf of Mexico. While the technology is not completely understood by the undersigned, it is clear that the process may have extreme value and it should be given a chance to be presented and tested on a large scale basis. At this point, the undersigned is not aware of any entity that currently exists in the Gulf of Mexico, which is water column contamination by dissolved petroleum due to dispersant used in the Deepwater Horizon spill. So, how exactly does the application of this stream of sound work? What happens to the oil and various pollutants in the water? Where do they go? In the recommended documentary, Water, The Great Mystery, scientists admit that even today, in the 21st century, water, the most common substance on Earth, remains a mystery. But based on experimentation, scientists have concluded that it's not the composition of water, H2O, that's important, but it's the structure. Modern instruments have made it possible to record the fact that water has memory that's imprinted by what affects it. Within each of water's memory cells, there are 440,000 information, each of which is responsible for its own type of interaction with the environment. Aloy Gruber, Australian researcher, states we pollute water spiritually, and this happens on a huge scale. The water adopts all of the hatred, all of the malign, all of the stress. The water is almost dead by the time it enters our body. Water can help us or hurt us depending on how its structure is imprinted and altered by environmental influence. Simplistically stated, as the chanting fans out to the waves of across the Gulf waters, the pollutant molecules are literally dispelled from the water molecules. And at this point, where science, mystery, and miracle converge. Nancy Lazarian explains the harmonic imprinting process of the Gulf of Mexico. It is hypothesized that everything in water, that water is the mother of all matter. In evaluating and observing things, frequency is frequency. Or more specifically, everything emits frequency. If a table is a particle frequency, then it is not a frequency of a glass jar. Frequency or resonance and sound, the same concept, is measured in wave patterns. Water creates wave patterns. We are sending wave patterns into the water. This wave pattern we are sending contains information. The information is the harmonics of balance. How did we decide to use this particular harmonics? We had tap water, clean Pacific Ocean water from the Gulf. We'd use an oscilloscope to read the frequencies of each water sample. The tap and Pacific water were almost identical. The Gulf water was bizarre, totally off the scale from the oscilloscope. We had to go find it, expanding the deflection vertically, because the reading was so different from the others. We tried different techniques in John Hutchins' lab, including high voltage and specific individual radio frequencies. It was the combination of the solfeggio tones along with the radio frequencies that reset the polluted water from the Gulf of Mexico. I say reset in that after using these frequencies, the polluted Gulf water suddenly was the same frequency as the clean Pacific water. Long before the Gulf oil disaster, I had been researching solfeggio tones in conjunction with work John Hutchinson and I were doing on his crystal power cells, batteries that never need to be recharged. We were experimenting with settling the electrical memory of the power cells while applying certain tones or frequencies. These solfeggio tones were among the we were experimenting with involving the crystal power cells. Since water is crystal, as in snowflakes, it made sense to apply them to polluted water, and the experiment worked. This is the power of nature, I tell you, my friends, and everyone throughout the ancient times who was on a master level of spirituality knew about sound and nature and how we can be in unison and also heal through it and be healed, and we can use it to heal the world. Continuing on, the oil disaster in the Gulf of Mexico, the Valdez spill in Alaska, and countless others that have occurred and continue to occur at an alarming rate around the planet as oil companies drill deeper into fragile seabeds and the planet responds with catastrophic changes, must be a constant reminder to us that water is life itself. Our bodies are 75% water. Our brains are 85% water. When water is polluted and out of balance, humans, planets, plants, animals, and even the way we think become polluted and out of balance. John Hutchinson and Nancy Lazarian went into the Gulf of Mexico to help heal Mother Nature. With assistance, we can head out into the open waters and expand their range of treatment. They are now just two people who, if multiplied by many, could initiate a benign water remediation treatment that in the near future around the globe. Their work is a gift, and they need the following to continue their water healing efforts. Land needs a beach along the west coast of Florida and something they can hold back a trailer into so that it projects out towards the water, and they need the ability to plug into a normal house held amp. open water needs a large boat that can handle 6,000 pounds of equipment, preferably a barge with a tug so they can travel along the coast and bounce the frequencies back and forth from boat to land. If they are able to do this, they can create domino effects and water frequency more quickly. Nancy's final comment: many people have sent videos of scientists working in the labs with water and sound. It would be nice if the scientists would join us in the Gulf. And they listed a number, so if any of you want to contact them and actually get in touch with them, you can go ahead and contact Nancy. Hey, you want to go ahead and see this now? Show you I'm not bluffing. All right. We're watching this together for the first time.
About 6,000 pounds of equipment here from Hutchison's lab in Westminster, which is right outside of Vancouver. And he sold the anti-gravity portion of his lab, but the backup lab was right here. So this is actually the equipment we use for doing anti-gravity work. And this is a large interferometer, which modulates and mixes the radio frequencies. And this is part of what we do. We're doing audio and radio, and projecting the audio across. What we're hoping to do is what we did for radio, which was bounce the wave back and forth across the water. When we tested it for Edo, we had an oscilloscope stuck on the dock about 300 yards out. And the oscilloscope was flatlined. We were getting no reading off the water. And as soon as we started playing these tones across the water, the oscilloscope started jumping with what's called sympathetic resonance. So the water was picking up the tones. And what we're trying to do is bring the water back into its proper frequency. When we tested this in John's lab, we had samples of water sent up to us from Biloxi Bay, and we opened up a quart of it, and we got hit with hydrogen sulfide so hard we had headaches for 2 days. I mean, it looked like it was clear, but when I took a high-def video line, you can see the suspended oil in it. And used these tones on it, and it became clear and clean seawater. We had our tests were tap water and seawater from the Pacific, and we had this particular one, each of them. The tap water and the seawater from the Pacific had a very similar, almost identical reading on the oscilloscope. And what we got from the Gulf was just bizarre. I mean, just a really strange reading, totally distorted reading. But after applying the frequencies, they're all the same. So we knew that what we were doing was restoring water back to its frequency. Everything is frequency. And water, and people don't even understand, scientists can't tell you what water is, but water has a certain frequency. And if we can tell it, it's okay, and we bring these tones out there, which are very ancient from thousands of years ago. Our object is to bring the water back to its proper frequency. The water will clean itself. We're not blasting oil out of here. We're not doing anything that's harmful. We're just getting the water back into its proper frequency.
So what are you doing now? Are you firing everything up?
That's a unique situation we got here.
Awesome.
Yeah, so we have here RF generating equipment turned on and turned up. This unit up here, this is powered by a strong and microphone. You won't get broken.
Thanks for that.
Yeah, no, it's okay. I'm not using that treatment all the code like that. The 2 units at the right, the gray box down there on the floor, it's got a light down. Another one underneath here. Tunable cavity with a magnetron. So we're supposed to get this set up. Next we'll be firing the audio out. And that'll put her on.
And how long will you run this?
As long as possible. See what happens. It's gonna be interesting to see what happens here. I got the magnetron installed. Every 8 to 6 gigs.
And if you watch this, it looks like an oscilloscope on walking. Exact wave that you get on the oscilloscope. It's really cool. It's that tone that's really important right there. There it goes. That's what we saw on the oscilloscope. We had the oscilloscope in the water, like it got its way. It was resonating with her.
All right, all right. You guys seen that? How fascinating was that? Man, I study harmonics and I'm a huge fan of the power of sound and how it can be used for the beneficial evolution of humanity, ourselves, who we are, our surroundings, our families, the plants, because we know that there are studies showing how, you know what, I'll just go ahead and pull it up right now. Um, College uses sound to heal plants. Um, College uses words, positive words on plants. Okay, here you go. A recent IKEA publicity stunt was used to portray the power of sound. And I talk about this a lot with Dr. Emoto and his water research. Words hold an immense power in our lives. Everyone knows about the feelings we have. A recent IKEA publicity stunt was used to portray the impact of positive and negative words. The IKEA experiment. It was a social experiment on various plants. Strange as it sounds, a 30-day trial produced some fascinating results. The campaign was intended to raise awareness about bullying. In the trial, two of the company's plants were placed in a school setting. The plants were subjected to two identical environments in all aspects, except for one thing. One plant was told a bunch of negative words, and the other plant was told a bunch of positive words. After the 30 days were finished, the bullied plant showed wilting, while the complimented plant showed to flourish. Although there was little scientific evidence at the moment, we know over thousands of years and through technology, through research, that sound is and it's just an amazing beneficial part of our lives, and we must take it into consideration with everything that we do. So, in all your life, in every part of your day, no matter what you do, go ahead and be positive and create beautiful harmonic sounds, harmonic thinking, harmonic heart rhythms. Um, because just in my video yesterday or 2 days ago, 3 days ago, whichever it was, about artificial intelligence, you heard about how a recent study pulled from the medical establishment showed that 50% of our health in all of humanity, no matter what age you are, deters from how we treat ourselves, how we talk about ourselves, what we think about ourselves, and the words we use on ourselves, our inner emotions, our inner vocabulary. This is
a collected study through psychologists, artificial intelligence, and medical professionals that recently came and established these findings, which is why everyone, including the ancient past, so from here in modern day times into ancient times, they say sound is powerful, and that is a little bit of a theory. So how do we go ahead and clear out this Nord Stream 2? With sound, man. It's been used for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. And well, I just hope that we can go ahead and do it. Will it happen? Probably not. But hey, it's a cool little theory, am I right? Yeah, man. I go ahead and think that we can eventually maybe overturn reality and win this war against the dark forces. You know, I'm not really so much into saying that the light is going to lose, because I believe God will always win. And hey, man, thank you guys for watching. Like, subscribe, and share. And check out my sponsors, Tweedle Farms, for all your hemp needs: concentrates, flour, oils, edibles, vapes. Literally, they have everything. They have all types of cannabinoids and terpenes, the perfect inventory for everybody who wants to just get a nice body high or smoke without losing their job. Use my coupon code 509 DIVINEPINES for 20% off. Also, check out boomerboost.com for nutrients, supplements, vitamins, and everything you need to keep your mind, body, and soul at tip top performance with all natural ingredients. I tell you, I've been using them for years, and literally, I'm evolved, man. No other way to say it. It's literally helped me stay at top of my health. I've not gotten sick. Visit www.boomerboost and use the coupon DIVINEPINES10OFF for 10% off. Also, for all you content creators who are tired of having their business cards, you know, with the paper, trying to find them and trying to keep them on hand, right? I got this nice digital business card. It has a QR code, it has a NFC chip. Put it up to your phone and oh, sorry, let me show you. Pull it up and look. Bam, all your information comes up, everything. So no more needing that paper. Visit popple.com or popple.co, popl.co, to check it out, man. Get yourself a nice digital business card, wear it around your neck. You can plant one on your car, you can plant one at your job, you can have all these different cool things. You can put one on your phone. They have this nice phone back cover. Hey, check it out. Use my coupon code 509 DIVINEPINES for 20% off, I believe. Hey, also, last but not least, but check out my amazing pepper sponsor at pepperenvy.com or pepperenvyllc.com. Well, Instagram, Pepper Princess 509, man. She sponsors best pepper seeds locally, handcrafted. She grows them. She gets all these different varieties, man. They're so fire, so hot. Literally, man, I'm Mexican. You know, I want the salsa. You know, I want the peppers. You know, I want that hot stuff. Hey, go check her out. Peace. Have a good day.